Hi everyone, Drini here, and welcome to my channel. So I'm back, baby. I apologize for not uploading any videos because this week was very busy for me. So today we're going to continue our Layer 1 series because most of our gaming cryptos are still down and there's not much to talk about when it comes to our respective gaming projects. Instead, we're going to cover the Layer 1 blockchains where a lot of these games are currently building. So today we're going to talk about the Binance Smart Chain, in particular the BNB token, because as you may well know, a lot of games are being built on the Binance Smart Chain. Unfortunately, most of them are really crappy. Some of them slightly worse than mobile games. A lot of them are rug pulls or scams. But nonetheless, there are still good projects that are being built on the Binance Smart Chain. So let's dive into the charts to see what we can see, okay? So looking at the BNB token since its inception at around August of 2017 all the way till now, there are a couple of things to surmise here. The BNB price action tends to mirror the Gala price action quite similarly, where you have a massive run-up followed by a long sideways consolidation, suddenly followed by quick bursts to the upside, followed by long consolidation periods. And right now, in 2021, what you had is a price action move that's very similar to the earlier price action that it did, where you have this massive move to the upside, very similar to this, followed by what? A very long sideways capitulation before the subsequent move to the upside. Now, zooming into BNB's recent price action, what's been happening to the price is a story of an ascending triangle. So ever since its moon right here, and it tried to really claw its way up this all-time high right here of around $705, it has started its descent by going sideways. So an ascending triangle is a bullish structure typically, but only when you break this particular upper trend line right here. This trend line is $672. So what happened with BNB is you had a coil up right here. So once we started mooning here and then the consolidation happened, price has started to coil up, where the ranges are getting narrower and narrower here. During early November, what happened was you have the BNB price action almost breaking its all-time high right here, but unfortunately it got rejected at this area right here of around 672, started to correct, and unfortunately price broke through the downside with this particular candle right here. Because of this break in structure right here, we actually have technical targets to the downside. You will have multiple levels that BNB will go to. The first one, of course, is where whenever the price hits the upper triangle, that is pretty much the height of the triangle where the BNB price action will hold. So for example, for this particular hit right here, when you overlay it to when the candle broke down, to where the trend line broke, we have a first technical target of around $246. But we also have this secondary structure right here, where if BNB continues to go on a bearish trend, you also have a secondary target of around $160. So these two price targets based on this particular structure is very dependent on what Bitcoin does moving forward. If Bitcoin recovers from here and we don't go into the bear market, then what can potentially happen for BNB is BNB can rally past the EMAs. So it's already rallied past the 55 EMA right here on a weekly time frame. It has to rally past this 21 EMA, currently sitting at $431, back tested a support, come back in this ascending triangle structure, and hopefully break this particular resistance line right here. Otherwise, if we continue to go down, if Bitcoin and the crypto markets continue to show weakness, or we have a major capitulation candle for Bitcoin, very similar to these types of candles right here, or very similar to the COVID March 2020 capitulation candle right here, or the eventual end of the bear market where Bitcoin suddenly dropped by 50% as well, very similar to all of these drawdowns, then you can expect, of course, that these could be potentially met instantly if Bitcoin has capitulation candles to the downside. Another structure that we can utilize to start mapping out where could we potentially go is because BNB finally broke through this EMA structure right here, we can actually draw a reverse Fibonacci where the candle that broke through the structure, the initial candle that broke through the structure is our 1, and the local high right here will be our 0. What we can see here is if you lay a reverse Fibonacci, but in reverse, so it goes to the downside, the 1618 price level where most Fibonacci structures end up before the subsequent correction currently stands at 214. So if we continue our downward trend right here, what you can see is we will eventually potentially have a relief rally, but if we get rejected on key Fibonacci levels, we will continue to fall down. There will be a support level at around the 337, but if we break this particular threshold right here, there's a giant cavern that will lead us all the way down to 276. And if we fall further, then we go to the 1.414 and eventually end up on the 1.618. This 1.618, if you notice, also coincides with where the swing low was in this particular run-up right here. So you have three types of techniques of doing technical analysis, all converging at a single point around this $214 range. So if you want to get into BNB, what do you do then moving forward? The first thing to note, of course, is we need to wait for Bitcoin to really recover. What do I mean by recovery? Right now, even though we are rallying, so we are showcasing strong candles to the upside, what's happening here is we are still not above our EMA structure. The current 21 EMA is around 44,080, while the 55 EMA is 42,679. We haven't even breached the 55 EMA on a weekly time frame. So even though our tokens and our portfolio is slightly up for today, just be very, very careful, because once again, if we get rejected, what tends to happen is we immediately fall to the downside and we go back to the levels that we were before, or we break down lower. So the BNB strategy is very similar to any other altcoin right now and any other gaming crypto right now, is wait for absolute certainty. When we see a massive capitulation candle by Bitcoin in the near future, where we start to break these lows and eventually settle in around the 30,000 range or the mid-20s, then we check where the BNB price action will be, and that will be your entry point number one. So for example, let's say you have a capitulation candle by Bitcoin and everything eventually falls, and we suddenly find ourselves here at the 1.272. This would be your entry point number one. So the way it works is this is where you start coming in. So you start getting positions here. If we start becoming choppy or if we fall further, then at least your DCA buys right here would closely resemble the bottom. Why? That is because we have a massive capitulation candle. And whenever we have capitulation candles, you usually see some more downside action, but most of the time we start to recover from there. The other scenario, of course, is if Bitcoin really starts to rally right here and goes above our EMA structures. And the good thing about us taking time to actually get there is if you look at the EMAs, the 21 EMA has started to come down considerably. It doesn't take a lot of investment to actually push this price above the 21 EMA right here. In fact, from the current price right now, all the way so we can break the 21 EMA, we only need to have a 6% increase in Bitcoin's price action to be above the 21 EMA. So when we finally get this confirmation, so what we're going to do here is if we get a Bitcoin price break, and when we start backtesting it as support and we do not fall down, then that is once again an entry point for BNB. If that happens on Bitcoin, what you'll see in BNB is it'll probably mimic the same. Well, you'll break this particular EMA right here and backtest it as support. Once that happens, then this is your bullish entry before the subsequent continuation. So the main message here is because we are in a bear market, you want certainty. You either want a certainty of capitulation or a certainty of being back in an uptrend.